Welcome to Gina's Bella Cucina. Well, if you'd like to learn how to make pasta dough, please join me today. Very basic, simple ingredients. I'll take you from beginning to end. And I'll be using a pasta machine with a fettuccine cutter attachment. I'll also show you how to make it by hand if you don't have a machine. And this little gadget is to dry your pasta on, but you certainly don't need one if you don't have one. Now this recipe is egg-free and dairy-free, but it comes out just as tender as if you were using egg. I've tried straight semolina flour with water, but I was never happy with the texture. So now what I do is I use unbleached all-purpose flour, 1 cup, to 1 cup of semolina flour, along with that 3/4 cup warm water and 1 teaspoon salt. And so I add the water gradually as I begin to mix the dough together to form the ball. If you like this recipe and want to see more, subscribe to Gina's Bella Cucina, where you will have access to all of my recipes. It'll take about 3 to 4 minutes of kneading to get a really good texture. Here it doesn't look just right, so I'm going to give it another little minute or so until I get a nice smooth texture. There you go. Now I just place it down on a floured surface, wrap it with some plastic wrap, and let it rest for about 10 minutes. And here I'm going to begin by using the rolling pin. So I've cut a piece of dough off, and I'm going to stretch it with the rolling pin, and I'm going to flour liberally. And you're going to want to roll it out to as thin as you can get it. Now, if you plan on making pasta on a regular basis, I strongly recommend you investing in a pasta machine. It'll be a lot quicker. And there you go. This looks about right for fettuccine. So once again, I'm going to flour liberally. I'm going to roll it up. And that's why the flour is very important, because you don't want it to stick. Once you've rolled it up, you cut it into 1 centimeter strips. And you pull the strips apart, and there you've got it. Now at this point, you want to once again flour all the pieces of fettuccine liberally, and you can just make a little nest and put them aside, or you can certainly hang them to dry on one of these little gadgets. And now we'll move on to using the pasta machine. So here I've got my piece of dough. I'm going to flatten it out, flour it liberally, and on your widest slot in the machine, you pass it through. I'm going to bring the 2 ends towards the middle and pass it through that same wide slot twice. Then you're going to begin to narrow the slots and pass your piece of dough through each slot, flouring liberally until you get it to the very last slot. Now this last slot will be the thinnest, so we want to make sure that our pasta is well floured, and then we roll it through the last slot, and this will give you the thinnest pasta dough. There you go. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And then I'm going to do the same with the rest of the dough. I'm going to cut them down to manageable pieces, and once again make sure that they're floured on both sides. Now I'm going to want to leave them sit for about 20 minutes to 30 minutes, flipping them over regularly, just to let them dry a little. If they're too wet, the pasta machine won't cut them properly. So you want to get them a little bit dry so the fettuccine cutter will cut beautifully. And on the other hand, if you let them dry too much, they'll crack and break as you try to put them through the pasta cutter. And then I like to just trim off those jagged edges. And there you go. This is how much you'll get with that one recipe. And now I've added my fettuccine attachment to my pasta maker. And this is what it's going to look like after it's dried. Again, not too dry. It should still be pliable. And you just bring it through that machine, and there we go. Beautiful fettuccine. And once again, add that flour. I can't tell you how important it is, so the fettuccine doesn't all stick. Now this pasta dough recipe can be used for any type of pasta that you would like to make. It does not only have to be for fettuccine. You can use it for a lasagna, you can cut nice big fat pappardelle, whatever you like. Now you can boil this fettuccine and eat it immediately. It takes about 2 to 3 minutes cooking time. You can refrigerate it for later use. I like to freeze mine, so I flour my container liberally and place all my little nests in there nice and neat. And for details of this recipe, go to ginasbellacucina.blogspot.com, and a fettuccine alfredo recipe is coming soon. Buon appetito, everyone.